Our manufacturing process is currently all on pen and paper, and we're using it to be able to collect the data from pen into electronic data for data analysis. And then within the last year and a half, we have actually transversed half of our manufacturing paperwork into electronic data to actually send to our customer directly, as well as be able to track the inventory of what's in our actual storage yard for shipments. The ease of development, it does very well. It's very much just, what do you want it to do? Ask a question if you're not sure. There's an answer for everything that you have, there's possibilities. Things that you come into roadblocks that it's not yet capable. There's a forum to be able to say, hey, this is something that'd be nice, and for people to vote for that to be something new for Quickbase to develop into there, and it comes to fruition pretty quickly. One of the things that I have seen recently come up was the attachments and pipelines, to be able to put pipelines in attachments in your pipeline automations. That was something I was glad to finally see come in. The one that I'm looking forward to is for data auditing. So seeing where we've changed forms, having a change log going for when we get audited. They want to see, well, what was the previous version and where's the log for that? I would say a 9. I would say it's less well suited if you're working with old integratable database systems that were formed into your company from the 1980s, late 70s, which is our current company standpoint. We have an AS900 system that was developed by IBM, and it was great at its time, but it's still a black and green screen that is very specific characteristic and does not integrate with Quickbase at all. So you got to find workarounds for that. Oh yeah, like I said, in the last year, 2 years, we've actually been able to fast track our inspection process. Just because of going from pen and paper, somebody reviewing it, somebody data entering it. Well, now our inspectors can directly enter their information as they're doing their inspection and be more mobile and not stuck behind a computer for half of their inspection time. So it allows for more mobility of our end users and ease of use. So it's very easy for them to use and a lot friendlier. Oh yeah, I mean, there's even sample apps that you use to be able to, when you have a small project, there's like, okay, let me just get this managed real quick. You download the sample app onto your user applications and just plug it in your information, and then it'll keep track of it for you. So it'll even have like preset stuff on there for you to be able to say, hey, I just need to have the small project I need to manage. I don't really want to build a whole application for this project management. Here's a cookie cutter example. It's like, okay, well, I'll just plug in what's applicable, leave out what's not, and then it has matrices already built for you, and just follow it. Yeah, I mean, if you're not familiar with database development, it still makes it an easy way to find out how. It's an easy open question form. You click a little question mark and say, how do I make this happen? And it'll bring up community forums. It'll bring up the how-to guides that's already there from Quickbase. And if anything, you can just submit a ticket to be able to ask for somebody to actually, for your specific scenario, and somebody will return back to you within the day or not the very next day. I'm constantly updating my application. It's a fluid application. It's finding new things that this can tie into in our business unit that I didn't think the information we're putting in would help. And it went from trying to go from a paperless system just to be able to capture data at an inspection point, finding out that one inspection point also tells us what's in our storage inventory, ready to ship, things that are not ready to ship, things that, hey, we need to have more attention to this before we ship, and then which turned into our materials management for them to be able to manage inventory better, and then which turned into invoicing, which allowed us to invoice even faster and reducing time and efficiency on getting paid for the product, all from one inspection point that we didn't know all this stuff tied into just by making this one application. Efficiencies and ease of use. The instructional, or the ways you're able to put instructional manuals on there. So you're getting return investment of not having to write this complex how-to guide on whatever you built, or you don't have to have the lag time of somebody entering this data into a spreadsheet. They enter it live, you get the information live. Instead of waiting for a report to come out because you're waiting on somebody to compile it together and get it next day information, you get live information as soon as it happens. So the return of investment is, to me, the data analysis being more live stream and not so lag behind the next day. Yeah, I would say so. I mean, data can be invaluable, but obviously everything has a price to it, right? But for what we pay for our Quickbase, it is pennies compared to having somebody professionally develop the same thing for you. I mean, you're looking at going from a 6-figure cost to something that's more of a 5-figure cost, depending obviously on what you end up getting, but you could save quite a bit of money just by compiling it all into one central area. Yes. Yes. The first time around, it did not. It took a lot of growing and learning pains of understanding of what our mistakes were, and learning from those mistakes for the implementation of the second time around was a lot more successful because we understood we're not all encompassing on all of our business units. Yeah. So our company is an umbrella company with a bunch of different business units, and we were trying to compile all those other business units to one defect database. And turns out we have different terms for the same defects, and it was all very conflicting. So we realized, okay, maybe all our business units need their own individual apps. And so when we did that, everything was a lot easier to put in, a lot easier to gather, a lot easier to analyze and do what we needed it to do. Yes.